have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world. When you hit that play button, when you entered into this eternal moment of right now, hit play and said, I'm going to take a dive in and listen, stick around, stay here. We got something going last week that is having an impact out there on individuals creating the life they would love to live. And you're no different. You're no different when it comes to this information because it's all based on law, all based on universal law. And we've been talking about that, but we've been talking about a process, a certain way to cooperate with this energy that we're immersed in, that we're made of, that surrounds us, that is omnipresent, that is everywhere present. There is no place where we can go where this energy is not. So think about that for a moment. I want to really emphasize that you should have listened to last week's episode. If you didn't, it's probably best to just stop it right here and go listen to last week's and then come back and catch this one. Now, it's not the end of the world if you don't. Of course not. You can listen to this one and go back. In fact, you know what? I suggest that you go back to a lot of these that resonate with you especially, and listen to them over and over and over again. Start them and stop them. Make some notes. Have a journal, a notebook dedicated to your own personal and professional development. When you're on this path, when you're on this positive path for living life, for making an impact, for influencing your performance, what's showing up, your objectives, your big dream goals, whatever it is you want to move into your personal experience or your professional experience, into your company, into your entrepreneurial endeavor, into your corporate life, whatever it is that you're working on. When you study or listen to or read about personal and professional development, you want to have a journal all the time. And you want to keep it handy too. This is not one of those things that, hey, you left at home. And I'm not talking about just typing something into your phone either. You want to keep a steno pad or a small notebook next to your bed. You want to keep one on your person, in your purse, or in your car, guys, in your bag or whatever you carry, or in your pocket somewhere. You want to have a main journal, a main notebook that you can then transfer thoughts that come up during the course of your day. Because what we're doing is we're moving into a different frequency here. And I'm not going to ramble about that today because we are on track talking about another 5-step process to go deeper and to tap into this energy that we are made of, immersed in, that is omnipresent. We want to tap into this energy, and we want to do so in a way that's been taught by all the teachers and sages and mystics of the ages. And hopefully I will communicate that in such a way that you say, yeah, I get it. I get it. If you're not already doing this practice, this is the certain way of moving into your experience that which you want to experience. And those can indeed be objectives and goals and big dream goals too, we're talking about too. Or just making some of the changes in your life that have been showing up perhaps as unwanted habits, something that you want to correct, for instance, about you. So
the process is still the same, and you can call this whatever you will. I've called it so many different things, but the title to the last message was Envisage, Visage, Visage. I have a hard time with that sometime, but envisage. And I did envisage because sometimes we see the word visualization and visioning so often that we just kind of roll right past it. Yeah, I read about that. I heard about that. I did that. When we consider the word envisage, we're considering visualization, but we're also adding in there contemplation. If we would look up the word envisage, we would find that it also includes contemplation. So, this is something that we want to do intentionally and deliberately, right? Because we want to make a change, don't we? I mean, you're here listening because you want to change something or you want to move into some greater good or have some greater good move into your life. So, just double check that. Yes, envisage, to contemplate, to visualize. So we're doing this in envisaging is the certain way that we make manifest what it is we want to experience. Now, when we got going last week, I just ran out of time last week. We were talking about entering that secret place. What we are really doing is entering that fertile field of infinite potential. And when we closed out last week's episode, if you recall, or maybe you just got done listening to it, I spit them out at the end of the podcast real quick because I set up this process is what I did. Is I set it up last week, and then I went into the first stage or step, which is relaxation. I did leave you with all the stages and their, what stages those are, and that's relaxation, concentration, meditation, realization, and thanksgiving. So we'll begin to go deeper into these today so that we can make sure that we're doing it most effectively, participating with this quote unquote certain way most effectively and efficiently in order to make manifest that which we wish to experience in our lives as individuals, as professionals, in our personal lives, in our small business, in our corporate environment, or whatever that may be. The greatest thing about that is you get to decide, right? You get to decide what is it that you want to experience. So hopefully you've done all that, and I've done many talks and many podcast episodes on manifestation, and I do have a 5-step manifestation process out there. You can just go to the website for the show, thegenesisfrequency.com, and you can just put in 5-step manifestation process. Better yet, reach out to me and you can get a hold of my book, the book that I co-wrote with several of my colleagues, and then including some people that, I could list all the names and go on and on. But in my book, I outline the 5-step manifestation process, and that's cracking the rich code. So if you do want that, you want to get it from me, cracking the rich code, and I have the specific volume with me on the cover, and I'll sign it for you. Just reach out, Stephen at successocean.com. I don't know, it's about $20 or something like that. But anyway, we're not talking about that right now. What we're talking about is this certain way of making manifest, of asking, of impressing this energy that we're immersed in with your intention. You can look at this energy like a fish. Most people don't look at this energy. Most people don't realize we're made of energy and immersed in this energy because they're like the fish that says, "What water? I don't see any water." Right? It's not something that we touch and taste and feel and hear and all of that and smell every day. But everything is energy. Everything is energy. In fact, years ago, author Pam Grout had a book, E Squared, Energy Squared. And she starts out that whole book, ask. Just ask. ask for a blessing, ask for something to show up. Just do that. She started off very elementary, very simple, just ask. And that's not a whole lot different than what we're doing here, except I'm going deeper, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and describing the certain way that has worked for me and countless others over and over and over again. So we want to do this in this certain way so you can make manifest and experience what you want. So we started with relaxation. And I said you can call this whatever you want. If you want to call it prayer and meditation, if you want to call entering the silence, if you want to call it entering the secret place of the Most High, if you want to call it going into your room and shutting the door, you can call it whatever you want. The label does not matter. Okay? This isn't about religion or religiosity. This is about cooperating with the way that you are wired. Your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, superconsciousness, and the way that we impress energy. Omnipresent energy. And you can call that energy whatever you will. You can call it Bertha, you can call it Harold, you can call it God, you can call it Yahweh, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But the fact is that we're immersed in this energy. We're made of this energy. It's all around us, and it is responsive. It's neither good or bad. It's just responsive, and it is. It is, and it's omnipresent. There's no place we can go where this energy is not, this substance, this ether. So last week we talked about moving into relaxation. Moving into relaxation, just relaxing our body, moving through our body parts, taking some deep breaths so we can consciously direct our body to relax. We move through our feet. We sit comfortable in an upright position. The intention here is not to fall asleep. I reiterated that several times last week. We're not getting into a position to fall asleep. Some people do that. They do this process, participate in this process. They do it lying down in their bed, and that's absolutely fine, but that's more conducive to falling asleep than it is to doing this process, participating in this certain way of making manifest in your life that which you want to ask for, okay? So I recommend sitting upright in a chair, feet flat on the floor, your eyes closed, and just focusing on your breathing. Your breathing, not to control it, just takes you into the present moment of right now, because that's where it's taking place now. It's not taking place some point in the distant future that doesn't exist, or it's not something we're focusing on, a breath that took place last Tuesday. It's right here and right now. It's something that we can anchor into whenever we find our thoughts drifting away to something else. And if they do, we're doing this without judgment. We're not judging ourselves, throwing our hands up in the air and giving up because our mind wandered and started thinking thoughts about yesterday or tomorrow or what's for dinner and the things on the to-do list. We're not beating ourselves up. There's no judgment here. There's no criticizing or critique. We're just relaxing into the moment, the present moment, without judgment. Some of the elements that we find in mindfulness training, but we're not doing or calling it or labeling it anything fancy, just relaxing right here and right now. Now, this is where we left off last week, and I said the next stage is concentration. I encourage you to stay in that state of relaxation for several minutes, but remember this whole process: relaxation, concentration, meditation, realization, thanksgiving. By the time I get through it and get done with explaining it, we can do this whole process in a matter of 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, or like I do, maybe an hour, 2 hours, a half a day, all day. There's 3-day retreats that you're immersed in this certain way. So if we learn the basics, if we understand the fundamentals, what we're moving through, we will be able to do this more and more efficiently with practice. So that's why I'm going into so much detail. So don't think this is a process that you have to, this is not flying a spaceship or an aircraft, and there's so much detail involved. But it's important to get them in this order, in this right way, because what happens is when we impress energy, when we move out of our time of this 5-step process here, we take action. We're moved and inspired and motivated to take some action because we're conditioning the subconscious mind with what we want. And when we take that action, we see a reaction from this energy we're immersed in. That reaction moves in people, places, events, circumstances, situations, objects that are supportive of what we're going to drop into this fertile field of potentiality that we're about to enter. So we're relaxing. We spend as much time as we have allotted for the relaxation thing. And, I call it a relaxation thing because we'll experience different levels of relaxation on different days. So just allow yourself to relax and anchor into the breathing. Then we move into the concentration step. The next step is concentration. And what are we concentrating on? Well, I like to look at concentration in a couple different ways. Think about all this energy that the universe is. And so often throughout time, people have contemplated this or labeled it, called it names, and put it out there somewhere, up in the sky somewhere. Maybe a Santa Claus living on a distant cloud or a Santa Claus type figure. They've considered this energy, labeled it something, and put it way, way out there. But not here, not right where we are or where they are. So in the concentration phase, what we're doing is we're considering all this energy that is as really something that's here right now. Remember, I said it's everywhere present. It's omnipresent. There is no place we can go where it is not. So that's what we want to concentrate on in this step. We want to just say, boy, I am. Energy is, and I am. I exist. And just be in awe, concentrating on all that is. Now, if you are deeply spiritual, as I am, you can go to different names and terms and call those to mind. You can use God, Yahweh, the Christ, whatever it is you want to label this energy, that's fine. There's no right or wrong, but just concentrate on this presence. Because this presence, this energy, this substance, this what is, this allness, contains within it all power, right? All wisdom, all knowing, everything is in there within this energy that we're tapping into right now. So we want to concentrate. You can just concentrate on the awe of it all. Wow. The way you feel when you stand and look at the ocean or a mountain range, the awe, the majesty that you feel, the grandeur. And so we're concentrating on that. The second part of this that I alluded to was we want to see that all that is, this energy of what is concentrated within us. I'm about to do a talk this weekend, and I may have talked about this last week, but I'll say it again in case you have not listened to that one yet. But I'm going to fill up 2 plastic jugs with water from the Gulf of Mexico here, which is essentially ocean water, right? And one of the jugs I intentionally left the orange juice label on, right? Another label. I think I did talk about this last week, but it's labeled. It's labeled what was in there. And even the label of orange juice is not accurate because we could go to the ingredients, couldn't we? And there we would have spelled out what makes up this thing we call orange juice. And that's what's in there. Well, with my 2 jugs of water, Gulf Coast water, Gulf Ocean water, whatever you want to call it, I just want to illustrate that everything within the jug, the plastic jugs that I show and present to people, is essentially the same as what is in the ocean. There's no difference. I have maybe pulled it out for illustration purposes, but it'll eventually go back to its source, right? It's still in its essence within that bottle is still Gulf of Mexico water, which is in its essence ocean water. Every element that is in the ocean is within that jug. So that's what I want you to consider in this concentration state, this phase, that all that is, all the energy that is, all the wisdom that is, all the power that is concentrated in you. You have captured, like I did with the bottle, you have captured some of this with your human suit, your garment of the soul, so to speak. That's a good word. I like that. The soul. Take all this power, all this energy, all this knowing, all this wisdom, all that is, this entire presence, and it's contained within our soul. And then we have this garment of physical form wrapped around it so we can move about our earthly experience, right? So that's what we're doing in the concentration phase, concentrating on that. Just letting everything else be outside of that for right now during this certain way process. So we continue. So we spend a few minutes here. We're in awe of all that is being concentrated within us, and we concentrate on that allness. Then we're going to move into meditation, but I'm looking at the clock here. We're going to have to save that for next week. I think this is going to end up being a 5-parter. Maybe not. We'll see if I can move through it a little more quickly next week. But the next step is meditation. Now, don't let that scare you. Don't run away and say, well, I can't do that. My thoughts just won't settle down. That's fine. Because in this type of meditation, we are going to think thoughts. In fact, tune in next week because we're going to directly access the infinite fertile field of potentiality, infinite potential that lies within you, within this next state that we're going to enter. We're going to enter a conscious state where we're going to drop in our intentions, our desires, our dreams, our objectives. So we want to do this properly. So be sure to come back next week. Now, if you're intrigued by all of this, you want to go deeper, you got a big dream, you keep getting stuck, there's a reason for that too. I can help you with that. That's what I do. Reach out to me. Stephen, STEPHEN @successocean.com is my email. You want to make an appointment with me to just have a conversation about all this? Successappointment, all one word, .com. Successappointment.com gets you a calendar that opens up in your time zone, and you can select a time that's convenient for you, which will notify me that you'd like to speak. No charge for that. Get on there, whether it's about a big dream goal, something that is keeping you stuck, or maybe you're stuck and you don't know why. Let's have a conversation about that. I know I can help you. I've helped so many people. The other side of that is that I do have an opportunity. I work with individuals, entrepreneurs, small business owners, corporations, but I love working with the entrepreneurial-minded individual. If you want to step into the wonderful world of entrepreneurship and move into this field of personal and professional development, and no, you don't have to have a podcast, but if you want to move into personal and professional development and programs and events and be in that space and be in that energy in a very lucrative business, and you have some big dream goals and you want to work anywhere in the world with a laptop and a phone, whether it's on the cruise ship or whether it's in a safari in Africa. In fact, we're going to Africa we're going to South Africa next year. Whatever it is you want, get on my calendar. Let's talk about it. More about the business at successocean.biz. More about this show, all the episodes, thegenesisfrequency.com. Small business corporations, go to successocean.com for more about the training that we call Learning That Lasts, Training That Transforms. It's all out there. This is Stephen J. Kosmina. You can find me out there too. So, hey, get in touch. Carrier pigeon, smoke signal. I don't do Morse code, but everything else, email, there's so many ways to reach out. Let's have a conversation. I urge you, let's do that. I got to wrap it up right now. You've been listening to the Genesis Frequency. And within this show called the Genesis Frequency, you've been listening to Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina. That's me. And I wish you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.